So it's been over a year since I've uploaded a Senran Kagura video, because the last one I did was on Ryobi's Shinobi Girl's Heart. Just playing through that can fill my head with nothing but booty.
What did he say?
Good lord. However, I've never done a tier list on the girls themselves, and while I could do one on all the video games, I've only played 3 of the 10 video games in the franchise, despite me being a massive fan. I'm sorry, but I don't have Steam, a Vita, or a 3DS. So we're gonna go for the main girls in Senran Kagura, along with a few girls from New Waves. We got 6 tiers to go through. The I tier, where I consider these girls to be okay, but nothing special. The good tier is where the girls I list here are good. The great tier are girls that I consider pretty cool. The sexy tier is the perfect tier for some that I would consider gorgeous or, well, sexy. The top-notch tier are girls that I consider the second best. And finally, we have the best girls tier, where I absolutely list these favorite girls in the whole franchise. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. Starting off the bat, we have the I tier, and starting off this tier is Miyabi. Now, she is a top-notch leader of Hebijo. She's got the tomboyish vibe going on, and is able to tolerate Imu's thirst for her. Other than that, not much going on with her, aside from her hatred towards the Yoma due to one of them murdering her mom. At first, I didn't like Imu that much, but as time went on, she's grown on me. I mean, the most she's got going for her is her thirst for Miyabi, as I mentioned before, as well as her having a shiny forehead. Still, at least she's very caring towards her younger sister Murasaki. Not much I can say about Rinka though, other than her being loud, proud, and the oldest of the Mikagura sisters. I will say that I admire her funny belly dances. Noaku is the guardian of Kagura. She's mostly stoic, which I don't mind. Just like with Rinka, I've got nothing much to say, other than the fact that she's an alright character. Soji's okay too. I mean, she's a member of Hebijo, but she's very narcissistic and has a one-sided rivalry with Homura. Seriously, she couldn't even remember her name, and that suddenly sets her off. Still, she's an alright character to me. I'm gonna tackle both of these girls together since they're both twins. First time I've heard of Gekko and Senko, well, was during the first episode of Shinobi Master, where they just massacred Asuka. Gekko's the laid-back one, and Senko's the serious one. They kind of remind me of the West twins from Pre-Para. Dorothy's the more cocky and confident twin, and Reina's the more sweet and relaxed twin. Besides that, I have nothing much to say about Gekko and Senko, so I guess we can move on to the good tier. Now, Akatsuka may not be the leader of the Hanzo team, but she earned her spot as the class representative of Hanzo. Despite her being adopted into a rich family, she felt guilty of taking her new older brother's spot as the heir of the family Sword Heian. While not a tragic backstory, it's still a bit sad. But at least she powered through her guilt and became much more confident and kind-hearted. And that's what I like about her. I also love the bond that she has with Katsuragi, considering they've grown up together like ever since they became first years in Hanzo. Not to mention her being tied with the 3 other girls on this list for having the fattest ass in the franchise. Now, Homura is pretty much the wild child when it comes to being a leader, especially with her team, the Crimson Squad. What's really impressive is that she can wield 6 swords at the same time, putting Zoro's 3-sword style to rust. Aside from that, she's there for comic relief. Sometimes. I love how Hikage claims to have no emotions, which is a damn lie, but at least her backstory isn't. She was taken in by a gang led by a woman named Hinata at the age of 8. Jesus Christ, that's the 3rd Hinata I've heard, but she was like a mom to Hikage. However, shit went left and many of the gang members were killed by another gang. And unfortunately for Hikage, she would find Hinata's dead body inside a dumpster, which would drive her into tears, and she would wield a knife as a memento to carry on Hinata's spirit. Yeah, definitely a sad backstory, but at least she now has a team that can depend on her and be by her side. I don't think she's that amazing, but she's still a good character nonetheless. I think I can safely say that Kagura is a pretty cool character despite me barely knowing much about her. All I know is that she's able to become more powerful by absorbing red orbs from Yoma, so she can go from a small kid to a super powerful adult. Not to mention her relationship with the Mikagura sisters, which is pretty wholesome. So again, she's pretty cool. Leo pretty much reminds me of Momo from My Hero Academia, where both characters may have been born in rich families, but doesn't let it get to their heads. In fact, I think they're pretty humble and pretty amazing characters. But when it comes to Leo, she holds a lot of trauma and guilt for not noticing her little sister Hyoki's feelings. Now, Hyoki started developing jealousy towards Leo due to the amount of love and affection she was given from her family and school. She felt neglected, and her jealousy would soon turn into pure hatred. And on that eventful day, she completely snapped to the point where she killed their parents and was close to killing her own big sister. But even with all that, Leo still yearns for her little sister and wants to bring her back into the light so that she can repair the relationship. Now, in all honesty, I feel bad for both of them. All Hyoki wanted was the same love and affection from their parents, and Leo felt horrible for not noticing Hyoki's state soon. Regardless, I think Leo's a pretty solid character, and I love the lioness vibe she gives off. And what's even cooler is that she shared the same voice actress with Hibiki from Pre-Paro, which is awesome. So with that out of the way, we now move on to the great tier. Yumi's the cool and mature leader of the Gessen Girls and is the granddaughter of Kurakage. Now, despite her being a bit restrictive sometimes, she's very nice and caring towards her team, and I love how fixated she is about justice. Murakumo has two different personalities. With her mask on, she's very confident in her manga drawing skills and is pretty cool. Without a mask, she's very timid and shy. Now, regardless, I like Murakumo, though she really needs to take the mask off sometimes, cause that girl is hiding too much beauty behind that mask. Now we have Mama Yozi, this short blue-haired woman with boobs of a mom. Seriously, she's like a mom towards Minori and sometimes Shiki. And it makes sense cause she has 12 little siblings, though she happens to be the one to step up as a mother figure, because their parents died during the shinobi duties. Still, at least she's able to power through it. I think Yozakura is a really good character. Now, it's no surprise I think Yagyu's very cute and is so protective towards Hibari, but sometimes she can get pretty perverted around her. The reason why she's very protective towards Hibari, it has something to do with her younger sister Nozomi. Now, she really doted on Nozomi a lot, but unfortunately, she would end up losing her little sister due to a car accident. She was extremely saddened by the sudden loss and would wear her ribbon as an eye patch as a permanent reminder. She then meets Hibari for the first time, a girl who's the youngest of 8 sisters and has a resentment towards her family, mainly her mom, who forced her into becoming a shinobi due to her developing Kagen, which is very powerful eyes that develops into her clan. And so the two became best friends. Individually, they're amazing, but I like Hibari slightly more. She's like a mix of childish and mature. Plus, her eyes are very pretty, regardless of her having Kagen. And oh boy, we have one half of the SMM duo, and it's the older twin Ryuna. No words can describe just how horny, down bad, and masochistic she is. But that's what I like about her. I don't know, I just sort of have a thing for horny girls in anime and video games. However, when you put all that aside, she's very cute and down to earth sometimes. Mariah is one of those characters that I think deserves a lot of respect and hugs too. She was bullied a lot and ended up developing an inferior complex due to the lack of boobs. She then joins Hebijo, but after a failed attempt at raiding Hanzo Academy, she was on the verge of going berserk, and to avoid her friends, she ran away. But Homura and Hikage both caught up to her and told her how much they love her along with everyone else. And this is why I think she deserves a hug. Besides that, she's a very solid character, from her interactions with Haruka to her hobby being on the internet. But what I find fascinating is her summoning a minigun underneath her dress, and with how she's wielding it, well, use your imagination. Daidoji is not only second to Murasaki in terms of big titties, but is also second to Rin in terms of age. She's the senior of her classmates in Hanzo, refusing to fully graduate until she could be the former senior, Rin. And tell me she doesn't look like an extra from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, cause she definitely does from the outfit alone. Plus, she's pretty ripped while still remaining voluptuous, and that's the way I like it. Just like Murakumo, Ryuki has two different personalities due to her halo. Touch it once and she becomes very violent and vulgar. Touch it again and she goes back to being kind and gentle. And despite her being the older sister of Ryobi and Riona, she was more like a mom towards them. However, her life was cut short at the hands of a Yoma who killed her team, as well as most of the Hebijo team, who ambushed her team moments before the unfortunate happened. Miyabi and Imu were the only ones to survive the whole incident. Despite that, Ryoki never hold a grudge against Miyabi, which is very good. I think Ryoki is a really cute and amazing character. When it comes to New Wave, Yuyaki is my favorite out of all the New Wave characters. I just love the calm and gentle vibe and personality she gives off. But just like Ryoki, she also has a violent side. But that's only if she picks up a weapon. Plus, her violent side is pretty much I would say kinda more tame than Ryoki. I'm not sure, but hey, she's a very sweet woman. But now we're getting into the next tier, which is the sexy tier. Ayame has a lady boner for Katsuragi, to the point where she yearns to be sexually harassed by her idol, which is insane. Just everything about her is inspired by Katsuragi. From her fighting style, to her weapons, to her outfit, even her hair is similar minus the hair color. But despite all of that, she still has her own personality, which I wholeheartedly enjoy. Plus, I go as far as to say she's hotter than Katsuragi in terms of looks. Yomi is pretty much a rival towards Ikaruga. Unlike Ikaruga, who was adopted and raised into a rich family, Yomi was raised in the slums alongside Murakumo, to the point where she developed a pure hatred towards the rich. But when she saw Ikaruga's father on TV receiving aid from countries overseas, her hatred would be directed towards Ikaruga. But the two became good friends after opening up to each other. So what's so sexy about Yomi? Well, 1, her blonde hair, 2, her personality, 3, her other 2 personalities, and 4, that ass of hers as she shares the same hip size as Ikaruga. There you go. Rin is easily the definition of sexy in both her base form and her shinobi form. She was originally a student in Hanzo alongside Daidoji and would graduate from Hanzo Academy. However, due to surviving an attack from a Yoma that decimated her team, she chose not to go back to Hanzo. However, she was offered a teaching position at Hebijo by Miyabi's father, and I think she made the right choice, as she's not only the sensei of Miyabi and her team, but even after Homura's team left Hebijo, she still offered her support to them as their former sensei. If that's not enough to classify her as a goated sensei, I don't know what is. And now we have Basho, and I know what you're thinking. I know you're probably questioning why I put Basho a tier above Yuyaki, despite me saying Yuyaki is my #1 favorite in New Wave. Now hear me out, okay? In terms of looks, Basho has Yuyaki beat in that department. She got pretty green hair, purple eyes, and they've really made her look very sexy in her New Wave cards. But what I also like about Basho is her calm and free-spirited personality, as well as her admiration of Hikage. Also her being voiced by Saki Fujita, the voice behind Hatsune Miku, which is amazing. Now let's move on to the top-notch tier. Minori is more childish and innocent than Hibari, but that's what makes her adorable. And the reason why she's very childish is because she doesn't like fighting due to her parents being killed during the mission, which is very understandable. However, she's willing to do what's right by her friends. I gotta say, Minori is easily my second favorite guessing girl. I just like her a lot. Now we have the main protag herself, Asuka, in a top-notch tier. Now what makes her special is that she's the granddaughter of Hanzo, the founder of Hanzo Academy, and also Sayori, a former Kagura who created the Kagura Millennium Festival. Now despite all of this, she's very humble and down to earth, and I really do think she's very cute. And I also find her rivalry with Homura to be pretty entertaining. And here we go, the second half of the S&M duo. The younger twin, Ryobi, and is the youngest of the 3. She's easily the second most sadistic character in the main series, mostly towards Riona, but damn is she so badass. And like Ikaruga and Yomi, she's also titled them for having the fattest ass in the franchise. However, she's considered to be the center of having a big booty, mainly due to her Shinobi Girl's heart in Estival Versus. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier with Ryobi. I mean, for fuck's sake, she created a war against titties and made Yomi her comrade slash rival over booty. This woman really gets around. Only thing that I don't like about her is her booty songs. Those are straight ass and not in a good way. At the time, Hanabi was my favorite character of the three Mikaga sisters, but she's still a lovable character. She may not be the sharpest sword in the sheath, but when it comes to pyrotechnics, she's a true master of it. Just don't ask her any complex questions, otherwise, let the clip speak for itself. So now we move on to the final tier, which is the best girls tier, my personal favorite girls in the franchise. Yeah, Kafuru ended up being my favorite of the Mikaga sisters, and she's the youngest of the three as well. And saying this now, she is the sassiest character in the main series so far. And I know a lot of people don't like how bratty she is, but that's what I love about her. She's a sassy little dolphin, and if you try to cross her, just know that she's packing 2 twin Glocks that'll turn you to a dancer. And we have the fourth and final goddess of booty herself, Katsuragi. She's easily the biggest pervert in the whole franchise, as she's willing to grow up any girl's pairs of naughty pillows. She's bright, cheerful, very tomboyish, and when she goes into her shinobi form, she just lets the girls breathe. But underneath all of that lies a sad backstory. She lived a normal life with her parents who were and still are shinobi. However, due to a failed mission, they were ordered to give up their lives as punishment. So in order to keep Katsuragi safe, they abandoned her and became renegade shinobi. This would encourage her to become a strong shinobi in the hopes of atoning for his parents' crimes and to reunite with them as a family. Katsuragi is a much better version of Sanji when it comes to being a respectful pervert, in my opinion. Yeah, there's no doubt that I will put Haruka in my top 3, but I can confidently say that she has the sexiest design overall and is arguably the most sadistic character in the franchise. Mainly due to her background, as she was over obsessed by her mom to the point where she was treated like a doll, and her father was corrupted into having multiple affairs. This led to her wanting to burn her house down, but Rin stopped her in time and would teach her the art of puppetry. We're going Naruto vibes in this one. Haruka then used her skills to force her father into coming forward about his corruption, and that's pretty much where her puppetry skills and sadistic nature stems from. Yeah, like I said before, Haruka is top 3 for as my favorite characters in Senran Kagura. Murasaki is very relatable when it comes to playing video games and being antisocial, and that's very understandable considering that she didn't want to become a shinobi in the first place, but was forced into the shinobi life by her parents and her older sister Imu. And despite having the largest fun bags, she doesn't really show much skin other than her 2-piece swimsuit in PBS, which I find very unique to her. But yeah, I love Murasaki a lot. Come on, you guys all knew. It was quite obvious that Shiki would be at the top of the tier list. She was born in a rich family, she had everything, friends, cool stuff, a monthly allowance of 100,000 yen, which equals to $640. God damn, Jesus. But however, everything would change when her parents were killed with no explanation how. This resulted in Shiki crying constantly until she heard the Heart Sutra being recited behind her by Kurakage. So he adopted her alongside Yumi, Murakumo, Yozi, and Minori. But unlike the four, Shiki had a hard time getting along with the others to the point where she get into fights with everyone. But as she recited the Heart Sutra, she started to feel more satisfied, and as she rolled in Gessen Academy, she ended up getting along with everyone. In a way, Shiki's backstory is kind of similar to Leo's. Both were born in rich families and had good lives, but ended up losing their parents. Only difference is that Leo's little sister was the cause of their parents' death, while Shiki's parents were killed but with no answer to how. Regardless, her backstory isn't the only reason why she's my #1 favorite SK girl. Shiki's a gyaru ninja, if you couldn't tell by the way she speaks. And as someone who enjoys a handful of gyarus in anime like Galco from Oshiete Galco-chan, Nene from Hajime no Gal, Martin from My Dress Up Darling, and just recently Minami from Hokkaido Gals are super adorable. I actually adore Shiki a lot from this. And her outfit just screams Grim Reaper and Vampire, with a Spirit Guardian being a bat. Seriously, her outfit is like in my opinion, is pretty sexy. But unlike most gyarus I've seen in anime, Shiki's very intelligent. From her reciting the Heart Sutra, to reading literature, to her internet battles with Mirai, which was pretty funny, honestly. Hell, she was encouraged by Kurokage to learn French, which encourages her to decide to study abroad in order to learn French, but that's only once she graduates from Gessen. I could go on and longer about Shiki, but I think I said enough. She'll always be best girl to me in Senran Kagura. So there you have it. That is my whole tier list on the Senran Kagura girls. Honestly, like I said before, there's not a bad character in Senran Kagura. I think every character is like okay, not okay at worst, but amazing, pretty good at best. And plus, a lot of the characters really have good gameplay styles in my opinion. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this tier list. Let me know what your tier list would look like, or at least at the very least, let me know who is your favorite or best girls in Senran Kagura. But I think that's gonna be it for this video. Summer is coming up pretty soon, which means I am gonna bring out more banger videos in the near future for summer. But until then, this is Starter Protagonist signing out. As always, Goki Genyo, and have a yeah, Goki Genyo, and have a Startastic day, everyone. If you enjoyed today's video, then be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn those notifications on to join the Star Nation. Also, be sure to follow my Twitter, and while you're at it, check out my previous video. Now.